I once heard a story about two farmers. They were both really struggling because it hadn't been raining for a very long time. The land wasn't producing anything, the crops weren't growing, and that was their main source of income. Both of them were going through really difficult times, struggling to provide for themselves and their families. However, the first one decided he was going to prepare the land anyway, even if it wasn't raining yet. He wanted to prepare the land so that when it rained, the land would have been ready. The other one instead kept complaining about the rain not coming, about the land not producing anything, the crops not growing, and how difficult everything was in that time. When the rain finally came, the first one was blessed because he had prepared the land, but the second one wasn't able to take advantage of the rain because he hadn't prepared anything. I think the lesson we can learn from the story is that we have to make sure that we are ready to receive what we're asking for. If we simply ask God for something and then don't do anything to prepare ourselves to receive it, even when the blessing comes, even when the prayer is answered, there's a very good chance that we might not be able to see it, or we might not be able to receive the blessing that comes with it. So I think the problem nowadays is that many times we ask for things and we expect to receive them just because we ask for them. But that's not really how it works. If we see, for example, a student, they might be a very smart, a very bright student, but if they don't prepare for their exam, they're not going to do very well. And so they might even pray a lot for that exam to go well, but if they don't do their part of studying and preparing for it, then there's a very good chance that they're not going to do well on it. The first issue that comes to mind is one of entitlement. And I think this is a very widespread concept, especially in society nowadays. We think that we are entitled to whatever we want to and that we should get it just because we are entitled to it and we deserve it. And I think many times this concept almost also implies that we should receive it without making any effort to get it. So this leads to asking or praying for things and wanting things in our life without us taking the steps in order to being able to receive them. It's like we expect chances or opportunities to fall from the sky and knock on our door when we're just at home chilling. And the issue that stems from the idea of entitlement is complaining. When we think we are entitled to something and we don't get it, we start complaining about it. The problem with complaining is that it has no real purpose other than increasing our frustration about that certain thing or situation. And the worst part is that complaining almost never leads to action. I think actually complaining breeds inaction. And the reason for that is complaining only focuses on the problem. It keeps reiterating those questions and ideas in our mind as to why we haven't received it, how it's not fair that we haven't received it and maybe someone else has. And this is pretty obvious when we look at the story of the farmers. The second farmer was just complaining. He was focused on the problem. His problem was that it wasn't raining, but he didn't do anything to either fix the problem himself, try to find a different solution, or at least be ready for when it rained. Like I mentioned in my previous video about waiting on God, which I'll link here, the solution is to adopt an action mindset, where the focus is not on the problem or the obstacle that problem is putting on your path, but it is on all the possible steps that you can take in the meantime in order to prepare yourself for the blessing. This obviously doesn't mean that we should try to fix the problem ourselves without waiting on God, but it means we shouldn't be idle doing nothing while we wait. For instance, if you are praying for a new job, make sure that you are working on yourself. Make sure that your CV is up to date. Make sure that you are working on new skills and abilities that you can offer that other candidates don't have. If you are praying for a house, make sure that you're putting in extra effort to put on more savings on the side. Make sure that you're doing your research on the market. If you're praying for friends, make sure to also work on yourself and your interpersonal skills while you wait. The goal when you are praying for something is to also let God work on you in the meantime and for you to work on yourself as well, so that you can bring more value to your life and to the life of the people around you. And before you know it, you'll be ready to receive what you're praying for. So if you're asking for rain, make sure that you're also preparing for it so that you are ready when it comes.